All right, it's time for the Trimet board meeting. I'm just having the most fantastic time on social media lately. I can't even begin to tell you how much fun I'm having. On my Twitter, of course, is all my transit material, and I just love to follow the Trimet stuff and the other stuff that's going on in the country when it comes to a farce called public transportation in the United States. And then over on the Facebook, I've gotten myself fully involved in the culture wars over there. Of course, I'm anti, I was very, very sympathetic to Trump during the election because, as you all remember, the Democrats had a fake primary. They had a fixed primary, which is funny, of course, because the Democrats are now whining. Although you don't hear this on the news anymore, the whole Russia thing is gone. Now it's the immigrant kids and the Supreme Court justice. I mean, the shit show just goes on and on. And I've been getting in these very spirited debates because a lot of my friends are Trump supporters, and I know these people. They're good people. They're very fine people. As Uncle Donnie would say, they are good people, but I don't know. They got Trump on the brain. They can't see this guy's a total fraud for whatever reason. I don't know. You'll see it eventually. But they're really attached to this guy for some reason. I mean, who would have believed that Christians, these fundamentalists, would attach their emotional baggage with a pussy-grabbing New Yorker developer who's surrounded by Zionists? But they don't see it. They don't see it that way. Apparently, they think he's. I don't know what they think, man. And anyway, I've really been enjoying the debates over there, and they get pretty nasty too. Those debates get pretty nasty, but that's okay because I'm used to that, man. You know how long I'm used to being insulted and demeaned and just treated like dirt. Okay, I'm used to that. So I just love it when people do it. I'm so used to it that it makes me feel. Give me a laugh is what it does. Anyway, I do have enough time. I actually got done with the calls from yesterday. I can't even keep up with the calls anymore. I wish I could spend my whole day on social media. However, I have a life, even though nobody believes it, and it takes up a lot of my time. So I'm very limited how much stuff I can actually do. So, but I want to see the board meeting because we have these new faces. Let's see here. There's one. See her? I don't know. She's not in my camera. There it is. Right there. That's that young. And this guy, young. But they're out. Now, who's this? That's a new guy too. Damn, I can't get them all in my picture. Okay, 1, 2, 3. But notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4 old ones, and then this guy Warner, who's really the power there. Warner and the hack Kelsey run the show. So, but I'm really excited about these new faces. I mean, this Trimet show I just love it, this Trimet show. It's the greatest show. Between Trimet and Trump, I have entertainment 24 hours a day. I don't even have time to watch HBO anymore.
Up ahead of the meeting and provide testimony. 2 to 3 minutes is what we would like, because we want to make sure everybody gets an opportunity to provide testimony. To talk to the board about issues of concern about Trimet or suggestions, and also if there's other items that are not part of our purview or under our responsibility, the staff is here to answer questions. And then after the public forum and the general manager's comments, we often have the opportunity to respond to some of those and gather some information that to help folks understand what we can and cannot do. I think this morning we have 7 people signed up for the public forum. I'm going to call you up 2 at a time, and I will remind you if you need more than 3 minutes, and we'll limit it to 3 minutes here this morning. We do welcome any written materials. You can provide those to our board secretary right over there, and we'll make sure those become part of the record, and we'll get those.
The interesting thing about these board meetings is they never announce they're having one. Trimet never. They have a Facebook site with 100,000 Facebook subscribers, and I know their Twitter site has 30,000 subscribers, but yet they never announce these meetings on there. They really don't want anybody to know what's going on, okay? And that really is the truth.
From you. So with that, I'm going to invite up Justice Armstrong and Arnold Panich.
These are two new names. An old guy and a young guy.
Good morning, Mr. Armstrong.
Good morning, members of the board. Today I'd like to talk about how the Southwest Corridor Light Rail project will affect housing and commercial properties in the Portland area.
Good.
According to the summary of the draft EIS for the project, a full corridor project would acquire and displace up to 300 residential units. Additionally, commercial acquisitions would affect nearly 150 businesses and up to 2,000 employees. In the past, local residents have had their lives upended by light rail property acquisition, and the Southwest Corridor plan is no different. Light rail expansion would affect people like Russ Seals of Milwaukee, who lost his home to the Orange Line project. At the time, Russ had already paid off half his mortgage, but thanks to the Orange Line, he didn't know if he would ever be able to own a home again. The plan for the South...
This part, you see, they're never going to give any play to the anti-light rail. They're going to try to blame it on the Koch brothers. The Koch brothers. Is he a Koch brother? Is he Koch brother plant? No, there's a lot of things wrong with light rail, and it has nothing to do with the Koch brothers. But I will hand it to the establishment for coming up with their enemy, as a way to persuade people to vote yes on their tax increases. I mean, never vote yes on a tax increase. You're out of your mind to trust the government with your money. But people are stupid. So anyway, he's right. I mean, it creates a lot of destruction in its path. Light rail kills everything in its path.
Southwest Corridor includes compensation and relocation assistance for displaced businesses and property owners, but fails to address the full costs of the light rail's displacement. Regardless of compensation, the proposed property acquisitions will negatively impact homeowners with significant financial and personal investments in their property, and businesses who may have clientele, local connections, or other factors that are dependent on their current location.
Yep.
By what standard are the proposed transit improvements better than allowing people to stay where they currently live? These are real people with real livelihoods who deserve stability. Another property issue is the opportunity for future development. Converting private property to public property is likely to make it harder for future homeowners and businesses to find space. These acquisitions would reduce the overall supply of property available in the area, and with no guarantee of future availability, we lose the opportunity for private development in these areas.
Yeah, can you imagine having lived in a town for decades, and all of a sudden they kick you out. The government comes in and says, you're out of here. We're going to put this light rail line in. Okay, that nobody really wants. I mean, the only people who want these light rail lines are the oligarchies, the politicians, the developers, the planners, the technocrats. The people don't want this. If the people who got like express buses that work, they'd be happy. But this is the government shoving itself down your throat.
Reducing the supply of property in the Southwest Corridor may also result in increased housing prices, especially considered alongside zoning requirements that mandate high-density projects near light rail. These requirements will disincentivize building new housing, further reducing supply and raising prices. Considering all this, I will remind the Council that light rail moves at a relatively slow speed, barely faster than bus service. Right. Is it really worth it to condemn 450 properties and displace thousands of people just so we can have another train that doesn't have any real advantage over bus service? The projected benefits of the Southwest Corridor project do not outweigh the potential harms to residential and commercial property, which is why I encourage the adoption of the no-build alternative. Thank you.
Well, very nice presentation, and he's right, but that goes nowhere because the decision's already been made. We have no idea how much they've spent on this already. I mean, they're planning on they want a $3 billion. They want us, the citizens, to give them $3 billion. That's after the state of Oregon has stolen from the Oregon citizens $5 billion for their whatever they called it. I forgot what it. But anyway, they didn't give you an opportunity to vote on that. They just stole it. And now they're also going to toll. They're going to toll the residents of Oregon for driving on the roads, and then they're going to want $3 billion. They're out their fucking minds? But who knows? I mean, the residents are stupid. People are stupid, generally speaking, easily fooled. And the government is very good at fooling people. That's the only thing they know how to do well, is fool the citizens.
Good comments. Appreciate that. Yes.
Maybe he's Koch brother.
Panich. I'm a member of the Trimet Committee on Accessible Transportation. I speak today as an individual, not as a representative of the group, but I want to welcome the 3 board members here particularly and ask you to look at projects through the lens of accessibility. And as you look at projects through the lens of accessibility, you'll find a variety of accommodations that are necessary so that everybody rides. Everybody rides means universal design. It means what it means. Everybody rides.
I like that.
Since 1986, we have had this committee, which predates the ADA laws, which was 1990. So 25 years of law, plus the legacy of having Portland ADA even earlier. Let me tell you a little bit about the accommodations. This morning on my bus, the driver waited for me to sit before they moved the bus. Before you move the bus, make sure everybody's seated, especially old guys like me.
You know why they can't do that, sir? Because the schedules won't allow them to do that. That's not a driver's decision. The drivers are trained to do that because the neoliberal transit management doesn't want bus drivers to have breaks. They believe in maximizing labor. They're neoliberals. Neoliberals seek the commodification of human beings. The reason they don't wait for you to sit down is completely in the control of the Trimet technocracy and their scheduling department. But they don't give a shit about you, and they don't give a shit about the drivers, and that's why you can't sit down on most buses.
Clearly marked restricted seating for elderly and those with disabilities, so that we have zones where we sit. And please don't call us handicapped. The origin of...
Wait, zones where you sit? That's favoritism, right? What is that, discrimination? What is that? I don't know. I don't think they... Well, with Trump in office, maybe they can do that now. Everything that used to be is now gone, so maybe they can do that. There is no more political correctness. We don't need any more of that, right? So maybe they can do that now.
Handicapped? Put your hand in my cap. Begging. Handicapped. We say people with disabilities. Not disabled, but people with disabilities.
Oh, is that where the word...
Low floor vehicles.
Is that where the word handicap comes from? It's like there's a beggar and he has a cap. And he has his cap out to begging for dimes. And so he wants you to put your hand in his cap. See? I didn't know that. Shit. Learn something new every day.
Vehicles where you don't have to step up. We do pretty well with the buses right now. They kneel. They have a 6-inch protocol on the front wheel to the curb. On the Max, not quite there yet. We sometimes couple a low floor with a high floor Max train. So we have to tell people in wheelchairs to go to the middle of the platform and then guess which will be accessible. If we could be fully accessible on the Max, it would be much better.
Good point.
Ramps, curb cuts, and printed in yellow so that those with low vision can see where the curb is and where the curb ends. So design your platforms in such a way that we can use them. See through the lens of everybody rides. I would also recommend, just before my time is out, for those of you who are new on the board, to ride buses and Max end to end.
Yeah.
Now, I'll just give you an anecdotal story.
Excellent idea.
On the number 6 Martin Luther King bus
Excellent idea.
from Goose Hollow to Jansen Beach, I saw the employment of the ramp 12 times in one run. Everybody rides. Thank you very much. And those who are new, welcome to the board.
I like that guy.
And welcome to the new general manager. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment and thanks for your service. I will point out to the new board members, if you have questions or comments, don't hesitate to ask or make them now if you want to add
Thank
something.
Wow.
Appreciate the feedback, Bruce.
I do want to also make sure you're aware of some of our plans on the Type 1 vehicles, the older light rail vehicles, to phase those out as quickly as possible to get to the low floor for the entire fleet, because your point is really well taken on the light
Yeah,
rail.
they're going to go.
Yeah.
They're going to get to that as soon as
Yeah,
possible,
good.
but
Thank you very
they're
much.
going to replace it as soon as possible. But what's the tax proposals is for redevelopment, not for trains. Okay, he's lying again.
Much.
As old guys.
Ah.
All right, the next two is Ben Fein Jr.
Oh, Ben
and
Fein.
Jacob Puckett.
Wow, Ben Fein is always good. Oh, okay. Ooh, that guy's tall.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Of course.
Mr. I didn't mean to jump in front of you.
No, I think
That
you're-
was the
you're-
first one. Yeah, okay. Mr. Warner, I think you're catching up with me in hair color.
I am. There's no question.
I haven't been in here for a while, but that doesn't mean I haven't been thinking about Trimet. My name is Ben Fein Jr., and I've lived 70 of my 80 years out in Washington County.
70
And,
years.
Things have changed over that time. I started with Trimet in 1975, just about 43 years ago. I had 10 years of driving before that, and since I retired in 2002, I've continued to drive a bus for a local group here of active young people. It's called the Bus Project.
Good for him.
I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I have finally got up the motivation to get back in here and talk about this. I see signs on the buses that says you're hiring. Even though I have a CDL, I'm not looking for a job, but I would like to talk about that. This has been going on for quite a while. It's my understanding that there were some people from HR went to Las Vegas looking for new hires. I don't know if this was considered or not, but why would somebody want to leave there and come into one of the most expensive places in the country to live?
Yep.
My
that's a
issue
point.
that I was wanting to talk about was the starting wage for employees. It's a little over half of what a person earns here doing the same work for 35 months before they're at that top wage. These folks are part of the community, these new hires. They pay the same price for gasoline at Costco that I do. And I have a home and have been stable for quite a while. These people are paying rents that I probably couldn't afford if I were working. I see no reason why Trimet cannot pay those people full-time from the start. And that does a lot to your internal mechanism as far as pride goes. And
I've actually been talking about that. Why in the world won't they raise? They can't. Nobody can find bus drivers anywhere. Okay, anywhere, but they won't raise the wages. So in other words, they refuse to raise the wages for bus drivers. They don't have enough drivers. So you know what that says? Okay, can people connect the dots? What it says is that the transit management is more interested in social engineering than in providing transit, okay? Because if you don't have bus drivers, you don't have a transit system. I mean, it's the most basic of fails. And they don't have enough bus drivers. And they can't get bus. What are they doing in Las Vegas? He's right. Yeah, I mean, that's just another indication of how awful American public transportation is. They don't want to pay you. They want you to work for peanuts. That's what they want. That's social engineering is what that is. Any business that doesn't have enough staff raises the wage to get the staff they need. But they don't do that in American public transportation because they don't care about it and they don't care about the people waiting for buses. It's an industrial complex that doesn't serve the people like every other industrial complex in this country.
I had no preventable accidents in that 26 years at Trimet, and I think I had an excellent work record. And that job was a result of my the pride I had in myself and the pride I took in my work. I gave a full day's work for a day's pay, and I think these people are doing the same thing. You can say, and somebody is probably thinking that this is a negotiated item. In the early 80s, at one of our contract negotiations, Trimet was able to get part-time employees, and
what he's trying to say, and this is essential to understand the country today. This is when neoliberalism took over the country at the advent of Reagan. That's when the oligarchy started seizing control completely of all the wealth and all the wheels of government, and they decided they didn't want to pay the peons anymore, because if they don't pay the peons, they can get more executive salaries, more corporate welfare, etc. And it's really that simple. People, I don't know if people believe it or not, but I understand how it works. Yeah, when you used to be in this profession, you go full-time immediately, none of this ridiculous part-time, and start at these ridiculously low wages. That all exists only to not pay you, so that they can have more money for other things. That's the neoliberal agenda there. Squeeze the working class so that the elite class can have more wealth.
Step wage. Those. Can I have just a few?
Sure, please.
He's so polite.
Those things are not etched in stone. Trimet came back to ATU.
He's fucking right.
And wanted to renegotiate that because they had cut the benefits back so far that they were having a revolving door in the training department. And it was the same as this issue now. And I believe that these people should be given that full-time wage to start with. They're doing exactly the same work that you expect from an employee who's been here over that time.
He's right.
And they don't get a break on accidents or red lights or anything else.
Right.
You expect them to take that bus out, do a good job all day long, and then bring that bus back home in one piece at night. And they do that continuously.
Wow.
Thank you for listening, and I have just started this issue.
So you're saying we're going to see more reviews?
Yeah, why don't you answer him, okay? Warner, you hack. Kelsey, you hack. Kelsey, the highest paid general manager in history, $300,000. Okay? $1,000 a day he get, more than that. For what? For what? Because he's an elite, that's what. But they won't pay the bus drivers what they deserve. As a matter of fact, they keep trying to take away benefits from the bus drivers because we have a neoliberal government. And, you know, they talk about Trump and all that, but it's the same thing here in Portland. These people that call themselves Democrats are anti-union, okay? They might as well be red in the way they treat union members.
Is that what you're saying?
Possibly.
All right.
Yeah, you're very funny.
Thank you very much.
Answer them.
All right, well, good morning again, members of the board. My name is Jacob Puckett, and I have a couple of comments after reading through the environmental impact statement for the proposed light rail along the Southwest Corridor. My main concern is that I'm not convinced that adding this light rail line is the best use of both time and money to improve the commuting situation.
Koch brother. That's like saying I'm a Koch brother, okay? That's like saying I'm a Koch brother because I don't support light rail. Yeah, another one.
We already have the 96 bus line running along the same route, and increasing bus access, whether it's through adding more vehicles or increasing the times those buses run, would be a much less expensive way to work towards the same goal. Much less expensive than a 2.5.
Of course, the light rail makes no sense at all, except if you're an engineer, a planner, a technocrat, a developer, a construction contractor. Who owns the wheels of government in Portland area? The technocrats, the planners, the engineers, the developers, and the construction company. They own the wheels of government, which is why this is happening.
$500 million light rail project would be. It can be achieved faster and with fewer complications, and it wouldn't have to seize any property through eminent domain. But perhaps most importantly, the results in the environmental impact statement are projected to occur in 2035. And since we're looking 17 years into the future, I think it'd be a good idea to look 17 years into the past. I went through the TriMet financial and ridership data from 2000 to 2017. Wow. And what we see should make us think twice before going ahead with the light rail project. Despite max hours increasing more than bus hours, despite max miles increasing and bus miles decreasing, despite investment per hour in max increasing more than twice as much as in bus hours, overall ridership is down.
Whoa, he hit it.
With max ridership decreasing 3 times as fast as bus ridership is.
Wow.
Now, given this information that the bus transit has been more successful than light rail, I would urge you to consider every available option before going ahead with the light rail project. Increasing bus transit has the potential to...
Okay, this is all accurate, and I like what he says, but you know, it's not... This is never... They've made their decisions, and now they're going to shove it down. This is government, okay? And everybody's focused on Trump. But this is the same thing, man. Trump is making these decisions, and he's shoving it down our throats. And that's what these people are doing. It's exactly the same. Trump is bullying the immigrants. Yeah, they are. He is. But the TriMet is bullying the fare evaders and the people on the light rail line. It's the same thing. I wish people could get out of their bubbles for once and understand that Trump isn't the problem. It's government. And it's because the government has been taken over by the neoliberal corporatocracy. And I don't really know what we're going to do about it, but I don't think we can do anything about it. I think they're going to kill us. I really believe that.
Meet the goals, decrease the cost, and lead to a more efficient and financially secure transit line in our city. Thank you again for the chance to testify.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No comments, not going to say anything. Look, Ben Fein shook his head. All right.
The next two.
All right, you see now see how, this is the other thing I object. This is why it's such a farce. Okay. There should be discussion around this stuff after they're done testifying. See, what they do here is they take your testimony and then that's that. Okay, thank you. It's useless because they're not interested in your test. The only reason they take it is because they're supposed to. It's of no value. They're not going to change anything they're doing. They're not going to raise the bus driver's salaries. They're not going to stop the light rail project. This guy here represents TriMet Trump.